What does it mean to live life to the fullest, train to your potential, and perform at your best?
Leave nothing on the table. That's a non-negotiable, is that I strive to be better every day. Because if I'm not on top of my game, how is anybody else going to follow me down the road?
Keep demanding more of yourself to live up to that potential and to stay hungry.
Training is progress. You know, when I look at the word training, I think of steps, baby steps to get somewhere that you want to be. And that is basically your life journey.
It's a mindset in itself, man. It's like, it's not just about, I know that for you, a lot of that's about the physical, but we're constantly in training, whether it's growing our skill sets, whether it's growing our physical bodies, whether it's growing our relationships, whatever. And all of that's a training ground. And that kind of goes back to the mindset that we just talked about.
You underestimate yourself and you don't even start. But then once you start, you often surpass what you thought you could do.
Perform at your best, mate. That's sort of what life is all about. You know, I want to have the knowledge, I want to have the fitness, the health, the ambition and drive that no matter what comes along, when that next phone call comes, I can just say yes. I don't have to worry. Just go and do it.
Yo. What is up, guys? Welcome to this episode of the Live, Train, Perform podcast. I'm your host, Sean Kober. During today's episode, I am sharing with you guys an actual coaching call that I had with one of my clients. And this is something that I've touched base with my online clients about, and majority of them are happy with me recording our actual coaching call conversations that I can share with my audience to give you guys a little bit of an understanding of the tools and the principles that I always talk about on the podcast, but how my clients are putting them together and tweaking and adjusting them to suit their life. Let's get this episode underway. Hey, bro. How have you been going over the last couple of weeks since we last spoke?
Yeah, so the last couple of weeks was pretty challenging. The first week since we last spoke was actually a pretty good week. Just as you know, we sort of redone things on my training program. I started retweaking some things because not that I ever slipped or anything like that. I just found myself just slightly creeping back into little old habits. And one of the biggest things
starting to slip, man.
Exactly. And the biggest thing that I've learned with being with you, one of the biggest things is self-awareness. I'm very, very aware now. I'm aware when my body's not feeling right. I'm aware when my emotions aren't right. And I think I was telling you this the last time. I was sitting there and I was trying to figure out what was going wrong. And then it was just basics, you know, like my water slipping a little bit, me not doing as much mindfulness. And it's just these little increments that had obviously added up. So we sort of had a look at that, fix some little things. And then, I just had some pretty shit news last week that a friend suffered a pretty bad heart attack. And then was without oxygen for quite some time, and then was pretty much brain dead. And he unfortunately just passed away. So, sort of going to that very quickly, it's as much as that devastates me, I try to look at the positive with this. And one of the positives through this happening is I didn't revert back to old patterns, which I would have done prior to working with you. Like the thought of going out and writing myself off, it never crossed my mind. I just know that I'm going to be useless to my mates. I'm going to be useless to everyone else if I go down that path. So as upset as I was, I guess it's shown me how much I've grown at the same time, and it's made me reevaluate. Like I've rewritten my values again now, because when something like that happens to someone so young, it really wakes you up and makes you realize that life's short, you know. So that's been the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, man. Yeah, mate. Obviously, very sorry to hear about your mate. It's never nice to hear that sort of news, and you know, it fucking never gets easier, man. You know, as we start getting older, though, that news is going to tend to come in more and more. So, as you said, like having a look at your own mortality, I think is an important part of growth, right? Like understanding that we have a finite time on this earth, and, you know, we need to choose what we do with it wisely. And when you do get some news like that, it really does make you, you know, consider what you are doing with your time, how you're living your life, how you're treating people, how you're treating yourself, man. Let's talk about some of those. Well, first of all, you said that you didn't fall back into your old patterns. So why do you think that was?
I think because this self-awareness I was talking to you about. I when I first started working with you, I didn't really listen to my body so much. And it wasn't until I got it into a state, and I'm talking physically and mentally, right? So it wasn't until I got it to what I consider an optimum level, the best it's ever been in my life. And then ever since I got it to that point, it's like my body's hyper aware when something's not right, if that makes sense. And if I do something that's not right, I recognize it 5 times more than I ever would have in the past. Maybe that's because I'd never felt what I guess it feels like to be functioning properly. Maybe, I don't know. But I think it's maybe that routine of looking after myself. I just know very well I can't take steps backwards. I can't go down that path, like I've come so far, and I accept having to take some baby steps back every now and then and not beat myself up with it. And I think that boils down to me adjusting things on the fly with my expectations when my values change, because my values had to change in the last week, and I had to put training a little bit on the back burner. I just had to sort of rest up a little bit more than I normally would. But I didn't beat myself up for it, because I know that that's a part of what I have to do at the moment. So
that is amazing awareness, man. That's really fucking awesome to hear. And you messaged me, when was it? It was within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And you said something along the lines of, I'm understanding now that, these principles that I'm teaching you, they're not only in play when things are going well. You put them in play when things are going bad, when things aren't going to plan. That's when my job starts, man, is when things aren't fucking going to plan. So, these principles, you're able to flip these principles, tweak and adjust them to keep yourself on track. Something we've spoken about numerous times is, you're not always going to be trying to make gains. Sometimes you need to pull back. Sometimes you're in a maintain phase. Sometimes you're in a phase where you're trying to reduce the damage, man. When things start getting away from you and you start picking up on these little things that start slipping, these little habits that start creeping back in, self-sabotaging habits that start creeping back in, and the positive habits start making their way out of your daily routine. And it's like, once you're aware of that and you can pick up on these little cues, man, you pay attention to, your sleep, your energy levels, your productivity, all that, your mood, your attitude, all that type of stuff, man. And once you become aware of how you're feeling, you're in tune with your body, then you start connecting the dots with how you're living your life on a day-to-day basis. And then you can start tweaking things. So, let's talk about some of those tools that you have implemented. Like the first week was, or 2 weeks ago, since we last spoke, the first week was relatively good. You'd been tweaking, refining, etc. And then you got bad news. And then, obviously, as you said, you had to switch your values around and put some things on the back burner. Let's talk about that switch and why you did that, how you're doing that, and how that served you.
Yeah, sure. So there's a few things that I had to sort of put back on the back burner. I think we talked about having non-negotiables with some things, and my non-negotiables, I still stuck to that. Like my non-negotiables are not going back out and taking drugs, or my non-negotiables are not going and just writing myself completely off. Like I'm very good at sticking to them things. Then I had to look at some of the other ones, and I'm like, okay, look, as much as I love training, like training makes me happy. I understand it's a stressor, which you've taught me, and I understand very well if my body's stressed out and I'm in that I'm in that sympathetic state. I need to tweak things around to bring it to bring equilibrium back, as you've taught me. So I was really tired and exhausted, just emotionally, and work was being quite full on. So instead of me getting up when I have been, I did fortunately, however I want to call it, sleep in just that little bit longer. I made sure I got to bed a little bit earlier to try and compensate for that. My meditation time did unfortunately drop off a little bit, but I still had to make sure that I'd done some of it, because mindfulness is a great way for me to relax and bring everything back down again. And the same with my food and everything like that as well. Like I still know that I'm able to process my thoughts properly, and I'm able just to be more in tune with myself if I keep my nutrition relatively well. So rather than being complete strict anal like I was when I first met you, I had to sort of tweak things around a little bit. And yeah, I had a bit of shit food in there, but I'm pretty aware of how much energy in, energy out I need now, because you've taught me that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know roughly where my calories roughly are. So again, I had to just adjust these things, and I also implemented a bit more journal writing, because I felt that that was a good way for me just to write things down. Because there's only one thing, Sean, that I did nearly go a little bit back on, and you picked up, and that's why I fucking love you. One thing I nearly went back on was the one pattern of mine I've noticed, and this is from journaling. One pattern of mine I've noticed is when things go bad, I tend to hide away a little bit and not talk. And that's just my way of dealing with it. And that's okay relatively, but it's not healthy at the same time. And you picked up straight away on that. And actually it was only you and my missus, the only two people. No one else kind of picked up on it. But I think speaking with you straight away at least got me to express some sort of feelings and get some emotion out. And then I just wrote the rest down. I just found that was pretty, therapeutic, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that was going to be my next question, man, was, how do you feel when you're writing things down? How long have you been journaling for first? How do you feel when you start writing things down? You did say it's therapeutic, right?
100%. And it's putting it's putting the words into action also as well. I mean, I write things down. Before I had all these values in my head and my goals in my head, but I never used to put pen to paper with it. And I think just the visual aspect when you actually, I'm writing stuff down all the time, and I never used to until I met you actually. And I think just looking at the words, is something powerful about it. And it's really hard to explain that to someone. The only way I can tell someone is to give it a try. You just got to give it a shot and then you'll understand, But I think looking at them words, and then I might, like, for example, I had a look over some stuff I wrote the other day, just today from a few days ago. And it also gave me a bit of a benchmark to see I've actually improved just in the last couple of days, because I was like, shit, some of them things I wrote down were a bit dark. And then not dark, but they were just a little bit dark. And then I had a look at it and I don't feel as dark like that as I did just a couple of days. So it's a good gauge. It shows me that I'm moving forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And going back to writing things down, I think the powerful thing about this is that's the first action step, right? Like, your thoughts are always, I think we have like 60, 70,000 thoughts come into our brain every single day as a human being. So, we can't process all of those things. So for me, like, I'm constantly writing as well, man. Like, I've got my notepad here, jotting down things that you're saying so I can come back to it and touch on. But, I've got my boards right in front of me where I'm writing down like what I do on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then I've got my monthly focus. Then I've got my weekly focus. Then I've got my personal goals, my top priority, my errands, my work goals, my top priority, my errands. And then on the other whiteboard, I've got, I've broken up my whiteboard into quadrants, and the top left quadrant is urgent and important, and then the next quadrant is important but not urgent. The bottom quadrant is not important but urgent, and then not urgent, not important, right? And like, that's what I'm doing every single day. I'm jotting things down. I'm doing it at the start of the week, and then I'm going back and I'm reviewing, man, and going, all right, how much of that shit did I get done?
Yep.
How many of those wins did I tick off the list? And I think writing things down takes things from being a thought into becoming action, because that is literally the first action step is, hey, I've got this rattling around in my brain. I'm going to do a little brain dump. I'm going to get it out of my mind. I'm going to put it on paper. That's the first action step, man. And once you take that first action step, it's much easier to then take that second action step. And it's also much easier to start organizing things, because you're looking at it and you're like, all right, well, this is, again, tying back into your hierarchy of value. You're looking at everything you've just jotted down, and then you're looking at your values and you're going, where does this fit in? All right, this fits in here, this fits in here, this fits in here, this fits in here. Where can I slot that into my day? Where can I slot that into my week? And something you said before about the meditation is like, yes, you were sleeping in a little bit longer, going to bed a little bit earlier. And you actually said, unfortunately. I was like, man, that's fucking brilliant. That's a great adjustment, right? You're not getting up and doing your training. Your body needs that sleep. Your sleep's probably going to be a little bit broken because your mind's going to be all over the place. And this is where, again, writing things down before bed, do a brain dump, then do some meditation, That's going to bring you back into that parasympathetic state, allow you to get to sleep a little bit better. And then you typically have a better sleep, a little bit longer sleep. When your body's under stress, man, you need that extra recovery, right? Then, you're not going through your full meditative practice, but you're still getting some form of meditation in because you know how important it is. That meditation, that focused meditation where you're focusing on your breath or you're focusing on your thoughts or whatever your target is for that meditative practice, is driving attention, which then carries over into everything else that you're doing in your day.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, that's something, a point that I wanted to also bring up as well, which I've done a bit differently. Because usually my meditation, when I do that, I actually like to put some candles out, and I have a nice little, have my little cushion that I sit on, and I put some guided meditation music on. That's just how I like to do it. But what I did to adjust things around in the last week is what you sort of do. I was doing it in the car when I was driving, which I'd never really sort of done before, and I can tell 100% how much difference it makes because I've got a smartwatch. So I looked at my my heart rate, and my goodness, I know this stuff. You've taught me this stuff before, but I just sort of refining that. And I also feel as well, right? Just going back to the writing things down, is I believe that's made a big impact on my anxiety, because I think when I haven't written things down, everything just feels like it's so clustered in my head, and I can't, like you said, I can't start. I don't have a starting point anywhere. So I think from an anxiety point of view,
it's just a jumble when it's like when it's 70,000 thoughts in your fucking head. Like that's all. It's all jumbled up, man. It's a fucking jigsaw puzzle with pieces all over the place, right?
Yep.
The point of writing things down is to start laying those jigsaw pieces out and then putting them where they go.
Yep.
And some things you're going to action straight away, and other things you're like, okay, that's not, again, that's important, but it's not urgent. I can put that off for a month, and it's just literally like organizing your thoughts, man. It's taking those thoughts, putting it on paper, and then being able to like slot them in, whether that's, I need to do this today, I need to do this week, I need to do this month, I need to do this by the end of this year.
Yep.
Which gives you clarity, right? Which then reduces anxiety.
It's amazing the difference it makes, and it's funny because it's just how you. I've joked around with you about this so many times. It's simple, but only once you explain it, it seems simple after that, But before you explain that, and I look at this now and I'm like, Jesus, I try not to think I've wasted years because it's built me to who I am today, and that's the way I try to look at it, right? But I do kick myself a little bit, going, Jesus, I wish I had have learnt this shit a long time ago, and it would have saved me a lot of time.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
And this is why I coach the way that I coach, right? It's because I've fucking learnt all these things the hard way myself, right? Or I've picked up on things that all of my clients are going through, man. And that's why I started the podcast, to get this information out to people, to say, hey, you know what? You can like organize your life in a manner that's going to allow you to decrease anxiety, depression, look forward to, putting processes in place on a day-to-day basis that's going to get you living the fucking life that you want, man. And it's not like a magic pill. You don't just start doing one thing and it's like fixes everything, right? Like, how long have we been working together?
Yeah, that's right. That's very true. And I think also as well is I've noticed a thing as well is how not interchange, I'm trying to think of the word, how much this applies to different aspects. So it applies to my training, and then it also applies to my personal life. And then I can switch these principles around to my work life as well, because that's something that I've noticed massively in the last 2 weeks. Even though I've been going through all this shit, the work's been pretty stressful, but I've had a lot of good shit happen at work. And my boss even pulled me aside and went, mate, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. Because I kind of haven't told him what's been going on in my personal life, because I'm trying to keep it a bit separate, if you know what I mean.
Of course.
But the results are coming in work-wise. So it doesn't, I think when I first started with you, it was all revolved around training for me at the very start. That's what I had in my head, not realizing that these principles, they're relatable to all other aspects. So that's what I try to do now, Sean. I try to adapt this the best I can, given the different situations and the different pillars I got going on in my life at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. That's such a common thing as well, is like people when they first start training with me, it's like it's all about the training program. It's all about nutrition plan. And it's like I'm constantly juggling how to, like, obviously I need to talk to every single client different, right? But I'm constantly juggling how fast I move their mindset away from just focusing on the exercises and the sets and the reps and all that sort of shit. And like, hey, look at the other fucking 23 hours of your life so that you can get the most out of that 1 hour. Like, that's the name of my podcast, right? Live life to the fullest, train to your potential, and perform at your best. And like, that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you live life to the fullest, you're doing these things that, you know, allow you to be your best self. That allows you to fucking train well, man. And training well doesn't necessarily mean you're hammering yourself. Training well might mean, hey, man, I'm stressed out. I'm under the pump at work. One of my mates has just fucking passed away. Like, I'm having a rough time. I'm still going to go to the gym, but instead of hammering myself at training and doing an hour and a half, maybe I just keep that habit in place where I still go to the gym, but I'm only going to do 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to focus on mobility-based work. And I'm going to focus on having a stretch. I'm going to do the things that I know is going to benefit my body and drive that parasympathetic state, reduce my stress levels, keep that good habit in place. Because as you know, man, it's much easier to maintain momentum than it is to regain momentum or create momentum, right? So sometimes it's about, as you said, man, switching things around and figuring out the best way to put your day together. Right. So then you can perform at your best. And when you're performing at your best, you're living life to the fullest.
That's correct. 100%. It's funny, but we're talking about momentum. I was sort of thinking about that. That was actually stuff I journaled down. And I'm very quick now to realize that momentum, when I'm riding that momentum, it's brilliant, right? But that momentum can swing in either way. There's good momentum and bad momentum as well. And 100%. Yeah, and it's the bad momentum now which I pick up on. I'm like, hang on, if I don't sort this fucking shit out right now, it is just going to go on a faster and faster spiral. And I just can't let it get to a point where, I mean, I know I'll always be able to come back. And again, I understand that I'm not going to get everything right 100% and of the time. I'm fine with that. And I don't mind taking baby steps backwards. I just don't want to take these massive, and I will not take these massive steps where I spiral in the opposite direction and do all of this fucking hard work that I've done, you know?
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point, man. Like, how long have we been working together? Is this our second or third cycle or something?
This is our second, but we've been working together for about, I think it was October last year is when we started. So it's actually been, because I think we just had that little bit of a break in between, but we've always stayed in touch. So we've been working. Yeah, it's about October last year we started working. We talked and everything before then, and I listened to, as you know, to all of your podcasts and had improved my life.
I appreciate that, bro.
Oh, man, every single one. I just finished your last one with the SAS guy as well, and but them principles just from your podcast were enough for me to at least build that foundation. But I realize now, and to anyone else listening to this, there's levels to this. There's fucking levels to this. And that's what excites me. Like, I think it's great. Like, I'm really excited, don't get me wrong, about the training side of things. But to me, this is the reason why I work with you, because it's everything to me. This is everything. It's all aspects that I really enjoy working on. And an example is one of the guys at work. He was pretty fucked. Like, he had a lot of shit going on. He ended up in hospital because he got really sick as well. But the guys, his trainer was hammering him and pushing him even more, you know. And I was sitting there. In the end, I don't know sort of what to say, because I know in my heart this, but it's all I can do is tell these guys, hey, you know, you do realize training's an actual stressor, and they don't get it. They just don't get it, you know. And I can sit there and physically watch some of these guys sort of dwindle in their minds. So my friend side of things is a different story. They listen to me. So everything you're passing on to me, I've been passing on to my mates who want to listen. So it's been really good. It's been really interesting. I guess this is, for me, it's not like I'm a trainer as of such, but I'm trying to relay everything I'm learning off you now, in my own words, to pass on to my friends as well. So it's a different experience being on the other side of the chair.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, that's brilliant, man. Like, that's why I educate the way that I do. Is like, because then, you know, and I've you would have listened to the Damien Gilbert podcast. You messaged me actually, and you're like, dude, that was fucking sick, man. So, you know, same thing, like all of those principles being adjusted to allow him to allow you to be better at life. And then when other people around you, if people know who you are, they fucking know when you're going through a rough time. They know when it's smooth sailing, right? And for the most part, some people don't pick up on it because they're not really paying attention. Or they've got their own shit going on, which is totally understandable. But you want to lead by example. I don't like to tell people what to do. I like to show people what to do, right? And that's what I implement in my life, and that's what I coach to my clients as well. Is like, don't tell people what to do, show people what to do. And if people start seeing your mindset change and they see you living your best life and, you know, you're in a fucking good place, they can start asking questions, man. Like, oh shit, dude, like I've seen a change in you. What's going on? What are you doing? Tell me this, tell me that. You know, I think that's really fucking powerful, man. And the something I always say is like, when you teach something, you get to learn it twice.
Yes. That is good. I like that. I love that. And it's like what you say, mate, preach what you practice.
Yeah. So what are some of those principles that you've been talking to like friends and family and stuff about that you've implemented yourself that they're asking you questions about or they want to know about?
Yeah, I think the biggest change, like as you know, with me, I was pretty heavily on a lot of medication when we first met, and my whole mindset was completely different. Like I couldn't process. It wouldn't have. I honestly don't think it wouldn't have mattered what I learnt chemically at that time in my brain. It was very, very difficult for me to process, and it was like my core morals have always been the same. They haven't changed whatsoever. But who I am as a person, how I express myself, etc. It was a fucking huge difference. So obviously, when I started working with you, and I got myself, which I'm pretty much nearly completely medication free now, and completely. And that's just, I did not expect to fucking be able to do that in the time that I did. And people picked up on that, especially the people that were close with me, and even just the people at work, because they're the ones you spend the most time with, right? You spend so much time with these guys. And they started asking me, then they started seeing the changes in my body and my physique, and then just my attitude. I was always really stressed out all the time, and really, I guess my anxiety was through the roof, as you know. And I think a big thing, I just used to get fucking pissed off and angry over the stupidest shit, like over silly stuff, and not realizing that by doing that whole time, these little things every day, it was like I was causing myself this chronic stress, just little things over the day. So that changed. So when I started realizing, holy shit, like I just don't, it's not that I don't care. Like I care about things. I just choose what I give a fuck about. Like, you know, especially after reading that book, right? After reading The Subtle Art of Giving a Fuck, that was a brilliant one for me. I really resonated with that. So I think by doing these,
just as you were saying that, man, like as you're speaking those words, before you mentioned the book, I was like, between stimulus and response is choice.
Yep. 100%. So I think a lot of people picked up on that. Well, I don't think I know they did, because they started asking me what I've been doing. Now, there were some people that typical, the type of person I am, I just like to try and help everybody. And then I sort of realized that comes at a burden also as well. I need to look after myself first. I can't pour from an empty cup, like you say. So the ones that, I mean, it's not like I'm helping hundreds of people like you or anything. It's only a very small core group of people that I've been helping. But they're the ones that actually listen to me. They've been listening to me and implementing what, you know, I tell them to listen to your podcast, but some of them do, some of them don't. But I just, they're always asking me what I've been doing. And I think because, like you say, because I'm leading by example, I'm not telling them what to fucking do. I'm just saying, look, this is what I'm doing. It might work for you, it might not, but I guarantee if you give it a shot, it's probably going to work for you. And then what's happened is one of my really good mates, he's been doing this, and then now through people he knows that I don't know, have been asking him, like, oh shit, what have you been doing? So it's like we're creating a, I don't know how to sort of word that. It's like we're creating a not a religion, but we're creating
it's like a web, bro.
Yeah, exactly, like a web. That's the best way to say it.
That's awesome.
And that's really rewarding for me. Like I actually feel like I'm doing something on this earth, because at the moment, like with work and everything, I still question, what I want to do on that side of things. And sometimes I sort of get caught in this little. Before meeting you, I'd get caught in this rut thinking, fuck, what am I doing with my life? But I think by doing these things and actually helping people with no expectation back, look, I'll be honest, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel like I've got purpose. So yeah, there's some of the things that I've been sort of, to be honest with you, it's more the mindset stuff than the training. Like I haven't really helped many people with what I do in the gym side of things. It's more what I do with the other 23 hours of the day that I've been helping people. Yeah. Because they've got their own.
You're a model client, mate.
Like they've got their own fucking thing in their head. Some of them are CrossFit nuts, and it's not. Who am I to say what to do? And some of them just are into just powerlifting. Some of them are just they all do their thing. So they haven't really asked me about that side of things. It's more everything else now. So I fucking love it, mate. And I'm a sponge, Sean. As you know, I just want to keep learning, mate. I just want to keep learning and keep growing. And I know I've still got a long way to go, but that kind of excites me at the same time. It's exciting. I don't want to.
Hey, bro, that's the journey, man.
Yeah,
the fucking lessons are in the journey, right? Like, yeah, there's a destination. We're all going towards the fucking grave. Right?
Yeah.
We're all heading towards death. That's essentially the destination, right? The journey is where the joy is, man.
Yeah,
that's where you learn. That's where you learn shit. That's when you enjoy yourself and put processes in place to allow you to be at your best for as long as you can.
Yeah.
Now, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say quickly as well, one thing that I've also been sort of not enjoying the process, but understanding a lot more is when things don't go wrong. Don't go right. I used to sit there and feel sorry for myself and go, oh, this is fucked. I'm the only person, blah, 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 and put a pity party on myself. Whereas now when shit goes wrong, okay, it doesn't feel great. Don't get me wrong. It feels like shit. But in saying that, just a little bit down the track, I'm like, fuck, I learned something off that. I grew off that, and it makes me appreciate things a lot more. So I'm actually appreciating the bad times for the first fucking time in my life. I actually am appreciating them for what they are. So that's something I think it's just, I think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You don't wish for them, but they're inevitable. They're going to come up in life to every single person. And if you can change your mindset from that victim mentality of this happened to me, this is fucking shit, to going, all right, that happened, that sucks. Did I do anything to put myself in that situation? Could I have prevented it? If yes, then there's lessons in that. If no, maybe there's lessons in that as well. And then how do I get out of this position? How do I start moving towards the direction that I need to be moving to be the person that I want to be? Right. There's always lessons in that, man. If you reframe that from, this happened to me to, all right, this happened for me. How can I learn from this? How can I move forward? How can I stop that from happening again?
Yeah, and a powerful thing, which I love, one of the things that you taught me was that one with looking at the person in the mirror and looking at the person through the window. You were teaching us that. I fucking love that. I absolutely love that. So I try to attribute the people that have helped me, like you, for example, when things have gone good, and when things have gone wrong. I tell you what, 95% of the time, it's something I've done in some way. And I realize that now.
Yep.
That's the only way you're going to fucking learn is take accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, look out the window when things are going good.
Yep.
Who's helped me get here? What's the circumstances that's allowed me to thrive? And then when things are going bad, look in the fucking mirror.
Yep.
Which is completely different to how most people think, man. Most people think with that victim fucking mentality. When things are going well, they look in the mirror and they fucking pat themselves on the back. When things are going bad, they look out the window and they point the fucking finger of blame at everyone else, man. And that's no way to live your life, because that is putting accountability and responsibility on everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Right. And that's no way to fucking change your life, man. The only way you can change your life is when you put your hand up and you say, I fucked up.
Yeah.
How can I fix this?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant, man. All right, so let's talk about the last couple of weeks. Give me, we're going to do a quick AAR, after action review, quick fix. something that you haven't done well that you need to fix. Then give me an improve, something you've done okay but can be improved upon a little bit, and then something that you've done well that you're happy with that you're going to sustain.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so something that definitely in the last week, which I need to fix, was I snuck back into my old habits of technology later at night than normal. And I think it's because and I was my missus actually pulled me up on it. She's like, not caught me, but was looking over at what I was looking at. And I was looking at a lot of stuff on my mate who passed away on his page. And, which is fine, but it's probably fucking not the best thing to be doing before I go to sleep, right? And I know this. I know not to go on. I should know better, but I definitely slipped on that, and I know that I need to fucking correct that, because that's probably I'm actually putting the pieces together right now. That's probably why it's contributed to why I've needed a little bit more extra fucking sleep, because maybe that sleep I've been having, well, not maybe, the sleep I have been having isn't probably as deep as what it's been when I do the right thing. So I think prioritizing my sleep a little bit more and my rituals a little bit more. That needs to
sweet.
Yep, that needs to be done.
Yep. So what's your action step on that then? So we've talked about what we're going to fix. Let's talk about how we're going to fix it. What's our action step?
Go back to what I did before. Go back to what I know. So, my technology should be getting switched off at fucking 9 o'clock or at least a minimum of an hour before bed if I go to bed a bit later. Dimming my lights before I when I'm starting to unwind. Little things like jumping in the shower before I go to sleep, just to get my my temperature right. Hot shower before I go to sleep, and making sure. I mean, at the moment it's winter. It's coming up to winter in Perth. Well, it's just started being winter, so it's not. The heat's not so much of an issue anymore. And one other thing which I know I straight away I know I need to do is not eat so later at night, because I've caught myself doing that as well, which has obviously kickstarted my process when I'm trying to sleep. I can feel all of this shit, Sean. I can feel it all. So just back to basics, mate. Back to what I know I need to do. So I'm just going to make sure I prioritize that, my nightly rituals and my morning rituals.
Nice, man. All right, cool. Improve.
Okay, it's something that I know I've been been doing okay, but I can improve on. I'm just going to boil it back is to my training, and that's okay. Like I've just been, like you say, I've gotten rid of that all or nothing mindset. So I've still been training. It's just not how I normally would, and yeah, some of it's only been 20 minutes. Like today, I've done 20 minutes, mate. I've done some movement, I've done a bit of stretching, and that was it, Whereas before I would have been like, fucking 20 minutes, I'm not going to do that. It's not going to do anything. So I've been implementing, I've still been doing stuff, and I've had to do it this way. But yeah, I need to sort of, as my body's adjusting again and I start to feel better, I want to improve on my training side of things a bit more and start to just to up a little bit, even if I jump it from 20 minutes to 30 minutes, just baby steps.
Yeah. Perfect, man. What's our action step?
Action step is to action step. I think realistically is just to add it. I suppose add that little bit of extra. So I'm just going to add 5 minutes. Like how you said when you take on new habits, right? You don't fucking take on everything. You take on one thing, and once you've done that, and for say a month, then you earn the fucking right to add something else on. So I think that's how I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna add. I'm pretty sure that was my exact words. That was it, mate. That's how much I've listened to your podcast, mate. I've listened to some of them fucking hell over and over and over again, mate. So it drills into me, So yeah, I'd love to say, hey, I'm just going to get back to an hour and a half. I'm not going to be stupid. I'm just going to, for this next week, I'll jump it up 10 minutes. And then when I've done that for a week, I'll jump it up another 10. Yeah.
Perfect. Love that, bro. Love that. And, a point that I want to make here is that, you should be walking out of the gym feeling better than when you walked in.
Yeah.
So the training is adding to your life rather than taking away from it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Perfect, man. All right. What about sustain? What have you been happy with?
I've been happy with the things like with when it comes to like my journal writing, for example, when it comes to just putting my thoughts down on paper. That's something that I think is a pretty big achievement for me. It's helped to look my time management, something that I'm working on, as you know. But I feel that it's all coming together a lot more because I'm fucking putting pen to paper again. So I'm quite happy with that. And it can be, hey, it can always be improved. Don't get me wrong. But I think I'm pretty satisfied and happy with how I've maintained at least that side of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's so awesome, bro. I'm always like, every time I like get on a call with you, I'm always like, energy levels up. I'm always inspired, man. I always love fucking chatting to you because it's like, I don't know. It's like I'm hearing a fucking, I don't know, like someone. It's like I'm hearing myself like echoing back, man.
Oh, I love it, mate.
It's awesome, bro.
Yeah, I love you, Sean, and to anyone listening to this, like, you know how much I appreciate you, mate. And I don't want to get teary now, but you've literally said this a million times, mate. You saved my fucking life, and I'll be forever grateful and loyal to you, mate, for that.
Hey, thank you, brother. Always appreciate it, man. Always good chatting to you. Love your attitude, mate. And it's really cool to, you know, see you evolve over this journey, man. It's been really fucking awesome, and I really thank you for trusting me in the process.
Awesome, mate. Thanks, brother.
Cheers, mate. Chat soon, eh?
Yeah, no worries. See you, mate.
And there we have it. Great conversation with Mark. Must give you a shout out and a massive thank you, Mark, for allowing me to record and share this conversation for the benefit of the audience. This episode was brought to you by Swiss8, which is a proactive mental health program designed to allow you to structure in and schedule 8 pillars of health and wellness delivered via an app on your phone. Be Spunky is also a sponsor of the show, which is a male hormone optimization supplement that I'm affiliated with, which I absolutely love. You can go onto their website, www.bespunky.com.au. Type in COBES10 at checkout for 10% discount. All of those links will be in the show notes. Any 5-star ratings and reviews are much appreciated. Much love, guys. Peace.